Welcome back to Founder Voices of Women's History Month. I'm Lauren Conaway, founder and CEO of Innovate Her KC, and this series is brought to you by Innovate Her KC and Aperture Venture Capital. So anytime I have the opportunity to talk to an amazing female founder, I am absolutely thrilled. It is what I do all day, every day. I love championing and supporting leaders and founders who are thriving in spaces that weren't necessarily built for them. So welcome, please welcome, and join me in welcoming Adun Akkani of Alaffia Health. Adun, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us and share your story. I'm so excited to hear your perspective.
Yes. Hi. And I guess I can start by just introducing myself.
I'm actually gonna ask you to tell us about Alaffia Health. I'm really curious. Tell us a little bit about your journey. Tell us about Alaffia, what you do, and then we're gonna get into some really fun nitty gritty here in just a couple of minutes.
Great. So I'm Adun. As you mentioned, I'm the COO and co-founder of Alaffia Health. Alaffia Health, we are a health tech startup. We're using machine learning and AI to essentially prevent overpayments on medical claims that are billed to insurance payers. So we're really on a mission to reduce fraud, waste, and abuse in our health claims that impact all of us, honestly.
Absolutely.
At Alaffia, yeah, no, definitely. I focus a lot on the operational aspect of the business, as well as leading the business development team as well. So really just client facing. Yeah,
that is awesome. And I'm sure, being in a startup, it's one of those environments where there is no such thing as not your job. So I'm sure that you do a lot more than that.
Wear many hats.
Yeah, exactly. You have to operate lean, and you become an expert in things that you never imagined you'd be an expert in. Yeah. So I once had to study building fire codes and electrical load when we were trying to figure out how to get our networked computers into a space. So
wow.
I totally get it. Never thought I would be doing that, and I'm sure that you do so much more than your job description requires.
Yeah, that was really simply put.
Yeah. So Alaffia, I think one of the really impactful things, and one of the things that bears mentioning, is the fact that, as you said, when we have overpayments and we see abuse of these healthcare systems, it does affect all of us, because insurance rates become higher and then become accessible to so many, and healthcare costs become higher. And so really you're helping, not only are you helping insurance providers, healthcare providers, but you're helping people like you and I to get accessible, affordable healthcare where it's possible, right?
Exactly.
That is absolutely amazing. That is so cool. I love that. I don't think it's any great secret that, thank you, pandemic, we have so many communities who are left behind and who aren't able to access healthcare. So you're speaking to a very crucial piece of that system. And so I'm gonna thank you for that. Thank you for your work. I know it's not easy.
Thank you. It's definitely the one that I'm passionate about.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, so let's hop right in, and I'm going to ask you kind of a 10,000 foot question. Why do you think, or why is it important to you that we invest in women-led innovation and entrepreneurship? Why is that important?
Yeah, I think that for me personally, I strongly believe that women bring a very unique perspective to anything that we touch, honestly speaking, outside of just business. I think that women are extremely strong multitaskers, strong in general. And I think that having women leaders and investing in women leaders really gives them the opportunity to shine, and really be able to kind of hone in on those skills and implement those skills in a business. I think that investing in women leaders helps to even open up your talent pool. I think it helps to bring in perspectives that I just feel like our male counterparts don't have.
Sure. Well, when we talk about topics like diversity and inclusion, that's always one of the huge benefits. How do you gather the perspectives and hear the voices of people who don't look, think, and act like you, so you can make better decisions, so that you can serve people better, right? So you're spot on. Absolutely. Oh man, you're speaking my language here, Adun. Well, so tell me this then. I know that you have a really interesting story. I know that Alaffia Health has a really interesting story. So what has it meant to you? And I'm going to ask you, what has it meant to you as a female founder of color, to be a female founder, to lead a company, to start a company, and to exist in spaces where you have to advocate for your company, where you have to find money and funding, you have to hire teams, you have to do all of these things. What has it meant to you as a female founder of color?
Yeah, I feel extremely honored to be in the position that I'm in. Going through this journey, one thing that I've realized is that I don't really see many people that look like me in this industry, in this space, at startups, at VC-backed startups. It's extremely rare. And I know even through the fundraising process, and obtaining clients, everything that we do day to day to grow this business, it's constant. There's this constant feeling of, once your color is seen, once your gender is established, you've kind of been almost partially ruled out, or categorized in a certain way. So then it's like, I'm always cautious of what comes out of my mouth when I open my mouth, and how I present myself, both physically and verbally. So as a female founder of color, it's been extremely important to me to make sure that I am a representative of other people that look just like me. So it means honestly, I'm extremely honored to be in this position that I'm in.
Well, and we're so glad that you're in the position that you're in. And there's this phrase, what's the phrase? If you can see it, you can be it. So you kind of become emblematic of, for you as a woman of color, for me as a LGBTQIA woman, it's like you become this example. And honestly, that comes with a little bit of pressure, I would say.
It does.
I've talked to a lot of female founders where they say, and I've even had this experience as well, like, you can't cry, you can't do anything too emotional, you can't be hysterical, because then you become the reason that the next woman isn't hired or supported or funded. And it's a problem that's pervasive, like all across, different sectors. This is a statistic that I love and hate to throw out there, because I think that it's a very stark reminder that we have a lot of work to do. But, as recently as 2020, 2.7% of venture capital funding went to female-backed startups. And I think it's really, really important to note that when we talk about intersectional identities, 0.036% of funding went to women of color founded startups. That is horrific.
Perfect. I'm not surprised.
It's not, I don't think it's surprising to any of us, but I do think it bears mentioning that we have a lot of work to do. And so when I see a founder like yourself, I have to first thank you. Second, say I'm so sorry, because I'm sure that you've dealt with a lot of stuff that you didn't necessarily want to deal with. But you're doing the work, and you're doing very hard work, because first you have to prove yourself as a founder. But then you also have to prove yourself as a woman and a person of color. And so you have that burden on you. So I want to honor that. I want to acknowledge that. And I think it's really important that I and the folks watching at home, that we thank you for that. So thank you. Thank you. I don't mean to embarrass you. And it's so fun. Like, when we were kind of talking in the little pre-show prep, folks, I do have to tell you that Adun is a very humble leader. And I adore that. But at the same time, I'm like, look at how awesome she is. So I'm going to give you the opportunity here to turn some of this the love fest for Adun, because we definitely have one in our hearts, but I'm going to ask you to turn it around for the female founders who might be watching. What kind of advice, encouragement do you have for them?
Yeah, I would say that I think I have a couple gems that I think that female founders should try and hold on to. I would say the first one being, try and think just bigger than yourself. I think me personally, what drives and motivates me is it's bigger than myself. And the decisions that we make today can ultimately pave the way for the generations that come after us. And I think, in my own case, my grandmother was an entrepreneur, and I see the same drive and spirit in my mother, who's an entrepreneur. And here I am, also an entrepreneur myself. My sister, she is an entrepreneur and also part of the founding team at Alaffia Health as well. And the decision that my grandmother made is what's still paving the way for us today. So I like to think, as female founders, we have to think bigger than ourselves and the generations to come after us. And that's the drive that will help us fight through the obstacles that are constantly being thrown at us.
Yeah.
I think that, another piece of advice is that don't be afraid to be a female and embody everything that comes with that. I have two little boys at home, and in the time period in which we have established and gotten Alaffia off the ground, I've had those two boys through that time. So I've been raising three babies essentially.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine the pressure.
It's a lot.
Well done,
thank you. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't do both, right? You can't be this great mother who also can run a business as well. Because women, like, there's no one as strong as a mother, honestly speaking. And
I firmly believe that.
No, definitely. That's just speaks to our ability to multitask and balance all of these priorities. And we do it very well. So don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't do everything. And I think that the last piece of advice is really just stay true to yourself, honestly. I've been in situations where I have felt like I have to kind of shy away from certain topics or, present myself in a certain way, and not be emotional, like you mentioned. But I think what's important is really being able to stay true to yourself and then finding the support around you that helps you be who you truly need to be. And that's one of the biggest reasons why the investors that we currently have are just the right fit for us. So I think you really just have to surround yourself with the support system that really helps you thrive. And that's what's been successful for me. And I hope that in some small part helps another female founder out there as well.
I love that. Well, and speaking to your last point, I do have to tell you, and I did not tell you this previously, but so folks, Alaffia Health is one of the portfolio companies for Aperture VC. Aperture VC, they're our partners. And when Garnett and I, he's the managing partner for AVC, when we were talking about entrepreneurs that we wanted to invite to share their stories and have these little kind of vignette conversations, I cannot express to you how much Garnett glowed about you. He was like, you have to have a dude. She's amazing. She's co-founder. She has this awesome story. Like he was so enthusiastic about you. So I will tell you, and Garnett will probably yell at me for speaking out of turn. But he won't yell, but he'll be like, Lauren, what were you doing? But I have to tell you, you have a huge fan in him. You have a huge supporter in Aperture VC, and we at Innovator are so excited to hear your story, share your story, and honor what you do every day.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I feel honored, and I appreciate this platform to be able to give back in this way as well.
For sure. Well, and I'll tell you what, Adun, I want to thank you for being you. I've done that a couple of times now, but I also want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us. This has been lovely. I am not surprised, but I am gratified that, we were able to have such a good, open conversation. I know it's in a short period of time, but you are incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. And folks, happy Women's History Month to you. Keep keeping your ear out for those founder voices, and be sure to make it an intentional choice to support women and invest in women. Thanks so much.
Thank you.